The morning sun rose over the hills of New Jeju. Taiho Kim woke up in his small hut at the edge of the farm. He had lived here for 3 years now. 3 years since Earth fell. 3 years since he became the last free human in the known galaxy. Taiho pushed open the wooden door and stepped out into the cool air. In the pen nearby, Baekdu lifted his head. The white horse was tall and strong, with a coat that seemed to shine even in dim light. "Morning, old friend," Taiho said softly. He walked to the pen and rubbed Baekdu's nose. The horse pushed against his hand, their daily greeting. Unlike the other animals on this world, Baekdu was special. He was a star horse, made in Earth's last lives before the end. Not many knew what that meant. Not even Taiho knew all of what Baekdu could do. Taiho filled the water trough and threw fresh hay into the pen. The farm owner, a 6-armed alien named Mok, thought Taiho was just a simple worker who was good with animals. Mok didn't know that Taiho was human. Taiho wore loose clothes and a face mask, saying he had a breathing problem. The lie had kept him safe so far. "Time to work," Taiho said, opening the pen. Baekdu stepped out, and they walked together to the main barn. Other alien workers nodded at Taiho but kept their distance. They thought he was odd, but they left him alone. In the barn, Taiho brushed Baekdu's coat until it shone like fresh snow. As he worked, he spoke in low tones. "Another day safe," he said. "That's what matters." Baekdu's ear twitched, and the horse turned his head toward the sky. Taiho had learned to trust the horse's senses. He looked up but saw nothing. "What is it, boy?" The barn door slid open. Rock, a tall reptile alien with green scales, slipped inside. Rock was the closest thing Taiho had to a friend here. "They're coming," Rock said, his voice a harsh whisper. "Consortium ships, 3 of them, entering the system." Taiho's hands froze on the brush. The consortium ruled the galaxy now. They had taken Earth and put humans in zoos across their empire. Humans were rare pets, shown off to paying crowds. "How much time?" Taiho asked. 2 days, maybe less. Rock shifted from one foot to the other. "They know, Taiho." Someone talked. "They know a human is here." Taiho looked at his hands. Human hands. Different from any other being on New Jeju. He had been careful, but not careful enough. "I need to leave," he said. Rock nodded. "I can get you on a cargo ship tomorrow. It's risky, but—" "No ships," Taiho said. "They'll check every ship. They'll find me." "Then you're trapped," Rock said. "This planet is small. There's nowhere to hide." Taiho placed his hand on Baekdu's neck. The horse stood still, eyes fixed on him. In that moment, Taiho remembered his mother's last words before she put him on the escape pod from Earth. "Baekdu is more than he seems. When the time comes, trust him completely." "Maybe not trapped," Taiho said. "I have an idea, but I'll need your help." Rock's eyes narrowed. "What kind of idea?" Taiho looked up at the ceiling, thinking of the sky beyond, and the stars even further. A crazy one. That night, Taiho sat cross-legged on the floor of his hut. In front of him lay the few things he had saved from Earth: a small photo of his parents, a data chip with Earth's history, and a thin book with handwritten notes about the Star Horse program. He opened the book and read his mother's notes again. Words like vacuum resistance and gravitational adaptation jumped out at him. Baekdu had been made for something more than running on fields. He had been made for the stars. Outside, the first of the consortium ships entered orbit around New Jeju. The hunt for the last free human had begun. Taiho closed the book. "Tomorrow," he whispered to Baekdu through the open window, "we find out what you can really do." Taiho woke before dawn. The air felt heavy, like before a storm. He packed his few belongings into a small bag. The photo of his parents went into a pocket close to his heart. Baekdu was restless in his pen, moving in circles. The horse knew something was wrong. Tai-Ho opened the gate and led him out quietly. "We need to be careful today," Tai-Ho whispered. "Very careful." He looked up at the sky. It was still dark, but he could see 3 new stars. Not stars, but ships. Consortium ships. They had come faster than Rock had warned. Tai-Ho led Baekdu to the barn as usual, trying to look normal. Inside, he found Rock waiting in the shadows. "They landed troops already," Rock said. His scales were pale with fear. "They're searching the north side of the city. They will be here by midday." Tai-Ho nodded. He had known this day would come. "Tell me about the ships." 3 ships. 1 big command ship and 2 smaller hunters. They have nets that can catch anything that moves. They have scanners that can find human DNA. "They will find you, Tai-Ho." "Not if I'm not here," Tai-Ho said, putting feed into Baekdu's trough. The horse didn't eat. He kept watching the door. "Where will you go?" Rock asked. "There is nowhere on this planet to hide." "Not on this planet, no," Tai-Ho said. Rock's eyes went wide. "Off-world? You need a ship for that. I told you, they will check every ship." "I don't need a ship," Tai-Ho said. He put his hand on Baekdu's neck. "I have him." For a moment, Rock just stared. Then he began to laugh, a low hissing sound. "A horse. You will fly away on a horse. The fear has made you crazy." "Not crazy," Tai-Ho said. He pulled out the book with his mother's notes. Baekdu was special. He was made to survive in space. "No animal can live in space," Rock said. "Baekdu can. He has special lungs, special skin. He can make a shield around himself, around us both." Rock stopped laughing. "You're serious?" "My mother helped make him," Tai-Ho said. "Before the consortium came, Baekdu was part of a program to help humans live on harsh worlds. Worlds with little air, strong sun, and strange gravity. Space is more than harsh. Space is death. Not for him, not for us. But I need to wake up his special abilities. And I need your help." Rock looked at the door, then back at Tai-Ho. "My help? How?" "I need to get to the highest point on New Jeju, Mount Hala. And I need this." Tai-Ho pulled out a drawing he had made. It showed a small device with a screen. "A star map?" Rock asked. "A navigation device. I need to know where to go once we're in space." Rock was quiet for a long time. Finally, he nodded. "I know someone who has such a device, but it will cost much." "I have nothing to pay with," Tai-Ho said. "I will pay," Rock said. "But you must promise me something." "What?" "If you survive, if this crazy plan works, you will come back someday. You will help free my people too. The consortium treats us like dirt." Tai-Ho held out his hand, a human gesture of promise. Rock took it in his scaled hand. "I promise," Tai-Ho said. They heard shouting outside. Alien voices, harsh and commanding. "They're here," Rock said. "Earlier than I thought. You must hide." "No more hiding," Tai-Ho said. "Get the device. Meet me at the East Forest in 1 hour. We go to Mount Hala today." Rock nodded and slipped out the back door of the barn. Tai-Ho turned to Baekdu. "Are you ready, old friend?" he asked. "Today we find out what you're really made for." He placed his hand on Baekdu's forehead and closed his eyes. He remembered his mother's teaching about connecting with the horse's mind, about waking up the special parts inside Baekdu. Outside, the sounds of the search grew louder. The consortium forces were coming closer. Tai-Ho opened his eyes. "Time to run," he said. "And soon, time to fly." Night fell over Mount Hala. Tai-Ho and Baekdu found a small cave on the east side. It was dry and hidden from view, perfect for what they needed to do. "This is our only chance," Tai-Ho said to Baekdu as he unpacked his small bag. He pulled out the book with his mother's notes and opened it to a page marked with a red line. The page showed a drawing of a horse's brain. Special parts were marked in blue ink. These were the parts that made Baekdu different from normal horses. These parts could save them both. Taiho sat cross-legged on the cave floor. He placed his hands on Baekdu's head, one on each side. The horse stood very still, as if he knew how important this was. "Mom said the connection needs to be strong," Taiho whispered. "She said I need to find the path into your mind." He closed his eyes and breathed deeply, just as his mother had taught him years ago. In, out, in, out. His mind started to clear. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, he began to feel something new. A warm feeling, like a door opening in his mind. Through that door, he could sense Baekdu's thoughts. Not words, but feelings. Calm, trust, and deep down, power waiting to be used. "There you are," Taiho said softly. Outside the cave, a light flashed across the sky. A consortium ship was flying over the mountain, looking for them. Taiho didn't open his eyes. He went deeper into the connection with Baekdu. In his mind, he saw a network of blue lines running through the horse's body. These were the special parts, the ones that could create a shield against space. "I need to wake them up," he said. "I need to turn them on." He remembered his mother's words. "Think of it like turning on a light. Send energy down the path. Make it bright." Taiho focused his thoughts. He imagined sending energy from his mind into those blue lines. At first, nothing changed. Then, slowly, the lines in his mind began to glow. Baekdu's body shivered. The horse let out a soft sound, not quite a neigh. Taiho felt the change happening. The blue lines grew brighter in his mind. They spread through Baekdu's whole body, connecting, growing stronger. "It's working," Taiho whispered. "Keep going." Another ship flew overhead, closer this time. Its searchlight swept the mountainside, coming closer to their cave. Taiho pushed harder with his mind. The blue lines in Baekdu now pulsed with light. Then something amazing happened. The light began to extend outside of Baekdu's body. It formed a thin layer around the horse, like a second skin made of blue light. "The shield," Taiho said. "That's the shield." The light grew stronger. It expanded outward, now covering both Baekdu and Taiho. It was thin, almost not there, but Taiho could feel it on his skin. It felt warm and alive. Rock had given Taiho a small device to test air. Taiho picked it up and checked the reading inside the blue shield. The air was clean and rich in oxygen, better than the air outside. "You're making air," he said to Baekdu. "You're making air for both of us." The horse's eyes seemed to glow slightly in the dark cave. He understood. Taiho checked the navigation device Rock had given him. It showed a map of the stars above New Jeju. He needed to pick a path, somewhere to go once they left the planet. "We'll head for the trading post at Proxima Station," he decided. "We can hide there for a while." He packed up his things and put on the breathing mask Rock had given him. It would help him breathe in the thin air as they climbed higher. "At dawn, we ride," Taiho said, patting Baekdu's neck, "all the way to the stars." Outside, more ships gathered in the night sky. The hunt was closing in. But now, Taiho and Baekdu were ready. The impossible journey was about to begin. The first light of dawn broke over Mount Hala. Taiho stood at the mouth of the cave, looking out at the sky. 3 consortium ships hovered in the distance like large, dark birds. "They're spreading out," he said to Baekdu, "looking for us." Taiho packed the last of his things and checked the breathing mask Rock had given him. It would help him breathe in the thin air near the top of the mountain. He put it around his neck, ready to pull up when needed. He turned to Baekdu. The horse looked different today. His white coat seemed to shine with a faint blue light. His eyes were clear and bright, ready for what was to come. "No saddle today," Taiho said, patting the horse's strong neck. "We ride bareback all the way to the stars." Taiho climbed onto Baekdu's back. He could feel the energy flowing between them, the connection they had made last night. It felt strong and sure. "Let's go," he said. "Fast, and high. They burst from the cave into the morning light. Baekdu's hooves struck the rocky ground with power as they raced up the mountain path. The air grew cooler as they climbed higher. It didn't take long for the consortium ships to spot them. Alarms wailed in the distance. The largest ship turned, moving in their direction. "They see us," Taiho said. "Run, Baekdu. Run." Baekdu ran faster, his strong legs carrying them up paths that seemed too steep to climb. Behind them, the first ship was closing in. It was small and fast, built for chasing. A bright light shot from the ship. It missed them by a few steps, leaving a black mark on the ground. "Stun beams," Taiho said. "They want us alive." The path turned sharply around a cliff. Baekdu took the turn at full speed. The ship following them had to slow down, buying them a few more seconds. Another ship appeared ahead of them, blocking their path. Taiho pulled gently on Baekdu's mane, guiding him off the path and into a narrow canyon. "This way," he shouted over the noise of the ships. The canyon was too small for the ships to follow. They flew overhead, their pilots angry and shouting. Baekdu ran through the canyon, jumping over fallen rocks and small streams. "Good boy," Taiho said. "You're doing great." The canyon ended at a steep wall. There was no way forward. Taiho looked back. Ships were waiting at the canyon entrance. "We need to climb," he said, pointing to a narrow path up the wall. Baekdu didn't hesitate. He began to climb the rocky path, his hooves finding perfect holds in the rock. It was as if he could sense the best way up. Near the top, a stun beam hit the rock next to them. Pieces of hot stone flew past Taiho's face, one cutting his cheek. He pulled up his breathing mask as the air grew thin. "Almost there," he said through the mask. "Just a little more." They'd reached the top of the cliff. Ahead of them was the highest peak of Mount Hala. Behind them, all three consortium ships were closing in. Taiho felt the blue shield growing stronger around them. It was like a bubble of energy, protecting them from the thin air. He didn't need the mask anymore and pulled it down. "Now comes the hard part," he said to Baekdu. "Are you ready?" The horse neighed, a sound full of strength and courage. They raced toward the peak as the ships formed a circle around them. There was nowhere left to run. The only way was up. Taiho leaned forward, his body close to Baekdu's. "Remember what you were made for," he whispered into the horse's ear. "Remember the stars." As they reached the highest point of Mount Hala, the consortium ships closed in for the capture. Nets were ready. Stun beams charge. Taiho took a deep breath. It was now or never. "Jump," he said. "Jump for the sky." Baekdu stood at the edge of Mount Hala's highest peak. The ground fell away sharply, dropping to rocks far below. Above them spread the wide blue sky, and beyond that, the blackness of space. Taiho held tight to Baekdu's mane. The three consortium ships hovered nearby, forming a half circle. There was no way past them. The only way was up. "Surrender, human," a voice boomed from the largest ship. "There is nowhere to go." Taiho felt the blue shield around them grow stronger. It was like a second skin now, clear but real. He could feel Baekdu's heart beating fast, ready for what came next. "Now Baekdu," Taiho whispered. "Show them what you can do." Baekdu's muscles tensed. Then, with a great push of his strong legs, the horse leaped off the mountain peak. For a moment, they seemed to hang in the air. The consortium soldiers watching from their ships waited to see the horse and rider fall. But they didn't fall. Baekdu's hooves came down not on rock or ground, but on air itself. It was as if he found invisible steps in the sky. Each step pushed them higher, not lower. "Impossible," shouted the consortium commander. "Catch them. Now." The ships turned quickly, their engines roaring as they tried to follow. But Baekdu was faster. Each leap took them higher into the thinning air, away from the mountain and toward the clouds. Taiho laughed, feeling more free than he had in years. The blue shield protected them from the cold, thin air. He could breathe easily, even as they climbed higher than any bird could fly. "Good boy, Baekdu," he shouted. "Keep going." A stun beam shot past them, missing by inches. The smallest ship was gaining on them. Taiho leaned low over Baekdu's neck, making them a smaller target. "Faster," he urged. "We need to go faster." Baekdu seemed to understand. His pace quickened. His hooves found purchase on nothing but air, each step taking them closer to the edge of the sky. The shield around them glowed brighter as they rose. It pushed back against the thinning air, keeping a bubble of good air around them. Taiho could see ice crystals forming at the edge of the shield, then melting away in blue light. Below them, New Jeju grew smaller. The mountain that had seemed so tall was now just a bump on the surface. The consortium ships followed, but they were falling behind. They weren't built for this kind of direct upward flight. "They're giving up," Taiho said, looking back. Two of the ships had stopped climbing. Only the commander's ship still followed, its engines training against the thin upper air. "Just a little more," Taiho said to Baekdu. "We're almost there." The blue sky above them was growing darker. Stars were becoming visible even though it was day. They were reaching the edge of the planet's air. Taiho felt a strange sensation as they rose higher. It was like swimming now, not running. Baekdu's movements changed too. His legs no longer pounded against invisible steps. Now they pushed smoothly, like a swimmer's arms through water. The commander's voice came again, fainter now with distance. "Stop. No living thing can survive in space." But Baekdu was not just any living thing. He was a star horse, made for this very moment. The last layer of blue sky gave way to black. Stars shone all around them, clear and bright. Below, the curve of New Jeju was visible, a green and blue ball hanging in darkness. They had done it. They had reached space. Baekdu's hooves moved in a galloping motion, pushing against the vacuum itself. The shield around them held strong, protecting them from the deadly cold and vacuum of space. Taiho looked back one last time. The commander's ship had stopped at the edge of space, unable or unwilling to follow further. "We're free," Taiho whispered. "We made it." Ahead of them lay the stars, countless worlds where they might find safety. Behind them, New Jeju grew smaller, a blue-green gem in the blackness. Baekdu turned his head slightly, as if asking which way to go. Taiho checked the star map Rock had given him. "That way," he said, pointing to a bright star. "Proxima Station." And after that, the whole galaxy. Space was silent. No wind, no sound, just endless black with points of bright light. Taiho had never felt so small, yet so free. Baekdu moved through space as if it were a field of tall grass. His legs pushed against nothing, yet they moved forward. The blue shield around them glowed softly, keeping them safe from the cold emptiness. "This is amazing," Taiho said, his voice sounding strange inside the shield. "You're amazing, Baekdu." The horse seemed to enjoy space. His eyes were bright, and his movements smooth. He was made for this, born for this moment. Taiho checked the navigation device. "Proxima Station is that way," he said, pointing to a bright star. "It will take us some time to get there." As they moved away from New Jeju, Taiho saw something large in the distance. It was the main consortium ship, much bigger than the three that had chased them on the planet. It was shaped like a giant hand, ready to grab anything that came near. "We need to stay away from that," Taiho said. Baekdu seemed to understand. He changed direction, moving behind a small moon that orbited New Jeju. The moon would hide them from the big ship's view. As they moved through space, Taiho felt something strange happening. The connection between him and Baekdu was growing stronger. He could almost feel what the horse was feeling. Joy, freedom, and something else, a sense of purpose. "You knew we would do this someday," Taiho said, patting Baekdu's neck. "You were waiting for this." In his mind, Taiho saw images. They weren't his memories, but Baekdu's. He saw a lab on Earth, people in white coats, a young horse being tested, trained, and among the people, a woman who looked like Taiho, his mother. "You remember her," Taiho said. Surprise. "You remember my mother." The connection between them grew even stronger. Now Taiho could sense which way Baekdu wanted to go. It wasn't toward Proxima Station. It was somewhere else. "You want to go there?" Taiho asked, pointing to a different star. "Why?" More images came to his mind. Other horses like Baekdu. A place where they were kept safe. A secret place the consortium never found. "There are more of you?" Taiho asked, amazed. "More star horses." Baekdu moved his head up and down, as if saying yes. "Then that's where we'll go," Taiho decided. "Show me the way." They changed course, heading toward a small, dim star. As they moved, Taiho noticed something else new. The blue shield around them was not just protecting them. It was also pushing them forward, making them move faster. "You're getting stronger," Taiho said. "The shield is helping us move." Soon, they were moving very fast, faster than any ship Taiho had ever been on. Stars blurred as they passed. The blue shield stretched out behind them like a tail of light. They passed close to a large ship. It wasn't consortium, but a trading vessel. Taiho could see aliens looking out of windows, their faces showing shock at the sight of a human riding a horse through space. "We're giving them quite a show," Taiho laughed. The trading ship sent out a signal. It wasn't trying to catch them, just asking who they were. Taiho used the navigation device to send back a simple message. The last free human and his star horse. As they raced between the stars, Taiho felt truly happy for the first time in years. No more hiding, no more fear, just freedom and the open stars. "We're going to find more of your kind," he said to Baekdu. "And maybe more of mine too. Free humans who escaped the consortium." Baekdu neighed, the sound strange in the bubble of their shield but full of hope. Ahead of them lay unknown stars and worlds. Behind them, word was already spreading through the galaxy. A human rode a horse into space, and the consortium couldn't stop them. It was just the beginning of their story. 3 days passed as Taiho and Baekdu traveled through space. They rested when tired, floating in the blue shield while Baekdu slept. The shield provided air, water, and kept them warm. "We're getting close," Taiho said, checking the navigation device. The dim star was growing larger. Just one more day. As they moved forward, Taiho saw something large ahead. It was a consortium space station, a huge ring spinning slowly. The station was a stopping point for ships and also a place where the consortium kept their zoo exhibits. "Human exhibits," Taiho said quietly. "My people are in there." Baekdu slowed down, sensing Taiho's change of mood. They floated at a safe distance, watching the station. "I wish we could help them," Taiho said. "But we're just two. We can't fight the whole consortium." Then an idea came to him. Maybe they couldn't fight, but they could give hope. They could show the captured humans that freedom was possible. "I have a plan," Taiho told Baekdu. "But it's risky. We need to get closer to that station." Baekdu moved forward slowly. They stayed behind a small moon, hidden from the station's view. Taiho took out the navigation device Rock had given him. It could send signals if used the right way. "I'm going to send a message," Taiho said, "to the screens inside the human exhibits, all of them, across the galaxy." He opened the device and began to work with its controls. His mother had taught him about such things long ago. It wasn't easy, but he found a way into the consortium's communication system. "Now we need to give them something to see," he said. Taiho turned on the device's camera function. It would record them as they rode past the station. The humans inside would see a free human and his horse, riding through space that the consortium said was only for their ships. "Ready?" he asked Baekdu. The horse neighed softly and turned toward the station. "Let's show them what freedom looks like," Taiho said. They moved out from behind the moon. the blue shield glowing bright around them. Baekdu began to run, his legs moving in the same smooth motion that carried them through space. They headed straight for the station. Alarms began to sound. Small ships launched from the station, moving to intercept them. But Baekdu was faster, much faster. "Now," Tahoe said, turning on the camera. They rode in a wide circle around the station. Tahoe sat tall on Baekdu's back, one hand raised high. The blue shield around them seemed to shine brighter, as if putting on a show. Inside the station, on every screen in every human exhibit, the image appeared. A young man riding a white horse through space, free and proud. The message below the image was simple: we are not meant for cages. The humans in the exhibits rushed to the screens. Some cried, some cheered. All felt something they hadn't felt in a long time: hope. Consortium guards tried to turn off the screens, but the signal kept coming. Tahoe had locked it into their system. It would play over and over for days. "Time to go," Tahoe said as the station's defense systems began to fire at them. Baekdu turned and ran, faster than before. The shots missed them by a wide margin. Soon, they were far from the station, heading back toward the dim star and whatever waited for them there. "We did it," Tahoe said, patting Baekdu's neck. "We showed them." The navigation device beeped. Messages were coming in from all over the galaxy. Other stations, other human exhibits, had seen them too. The consortium couldn't stop the signal. It was spreading everywhere. "One human and one horse," Tahoe said. "That's all it takes to start something big." Baekdu neighed loudly, the sound somehow carrying in their shield bubble. It was a sound of triumph. As they flew toward the dim star, Tahoe felt something he hadn't felt since Earth fell. He felt hope for the future, not just for himself and Baekdu, but for all humans everywhere. The message was out. Freedom was possible, and the consortium was afraid. 6 months passed. Stories spread across the galaxy about the human who rode a horse through space. Some didn't believe it. Others saw it with their own eyes. The consortium tried to say it was a lie, but too many had seen the truth. Tahoe and Baekdu found what they were looking for. The dim star had a small planet hidden in its shadow. On that planet was a valley with tall grass and clear streams. And in that valley were horses. Horses like Baekdu, with the same white coat and the same ability to travel through space. "Your family," Tahoe had said when they arrived. "You found them." But they didn't stay there long. After a few weeks of rest, they were ready to do more. The message they had sent to the human exhibits had started something big. All across the galaxy, humans were fighting back. They needed help. Now, Tahoe rode Baekdu through the rings of a large planet. Behind them were 5 more riders on white horses, humans who had escaped with their help, now riding star horses of their own. "There it is," Tahoe said, pointing to a consortium ship ahead. "That's the one taking humans to the new zoo on Rigel IV." Kim Soo-bin, one of the freed humans, moved her horse next to Baekdu. "Are we sure our plan will work?" she asked. "It worked the last 4 times," Tahoe said with a smile. "The consortium still hasn't figured out how to stop us." The plan was simple. The star horses could create shields that blocked the consortium scanners. They would get close to the ship, cut a hole in its side, and free the humans inside. Then they would take the humans to the hidden valley, where more star horses waited. "Let's go," Tahoe said. The 6 riders moved forward, their horses running on empty space as if it were solid ground. The blue shields around them glowed faintly, hiding them from the ship's cameras. They reached the side of the big ship without being seen. Tahoe used a small laser cutter to open a hole. One by one, they slipped inside. Inside the ship were cages. 20 humans sat in those cages, looking sad and scared. When they saw Tahoe and the others, their eyes went wide. "It's him," one man whispered. "The one from the message. The one with the horse." "We're getting you out," Tahoe said, opening the first cage. "All of you. You're going to be free again." Working quickly, they freed all the humans. Then they led them back to the hole in the ship's side. Outside, the star horses waited, their blue shields now large enough to cover all the new humans too. "Hold tight," Tai-Ho told the freed people. "It's a quick ride to safety." They rode away from the ship just as alarms began to sound. By the time the consortium guards realized what had happened, Tai-Ho and the others were far away, racing toward the dim star and the hidden valley. That night, in the valley, the freed humans celebrated. They danced around fires and sang songs from Earth. The star horses grazed nearby, watching with bright eyes. Tai-Ho stood on a small hill, looking at the stars. He thought about how much had changed since that day he rode Baekdu off the mountain on New Jeju. "We're not the last anymore," he said as Baekdu came to stand beside him. "We're the first of something new." Baekdu gently pushed his nose against Tai-Ho's shoulder, as if agreeing. In the sky above, a shooting star fell. But it wasn't really a star. It was a consortium ship, burning as it entered the atmosphere. The consortium was losing control. More humans were escaping every day. Soon, all would be free. "My mother would be proud," Tai-Ho said, placing his hand on Baekdu's neck. "She made you to save us." "And you did." Baekdu neighed softly, looking up at the stars. "Tomorrow we ride again," Tai-Ho said. "There are still humans to free, and a whole galaxy to explore." The last human was no longer the last, and his horse had never missed a step. The end.